and welcome to our new segment. This is what we're going to call a coffee break, where I get to talk to you guys one on one about what's going on with me, things I'm learning, and other tools that might help you along the journey. Today, I'm talking about something that is very near and dear to my heart and it's super personal, but I know that you guys are my community, so I want to share what's going on with me right now with you. Writing on the wall with the company prior to getting the invite. And to be honest, I literally said to myself, I was like, if I got laid off, I wouldn't even be surprised right now. So going into the call, in a way, I was mentally prepared. It was just a random meeting invite with my SVP in the middle of the day. And I was just like, this is weird. He never, you know what I'm saying, has had any one-on-ones with me before. So prior to the conversation, I just kind of already had a thought.
Okay. Can you take us back to the exact moment they actually told you, like when they were telling you what was going through your head and what did you feel in your heart?
Um, so again, it was a random, I want to say it was like a Tuesday or something. Middle of the day, it was probably like 12 o'clock in the day. And at the time, my little cousin was here. She was visiting. So I had that going on. I had been with her all weekend. And I got the calendar invite randomly. And I was like, if I got laid off, I wouldn't even be surprised, which was a random thought for me because I had never really fathomed being laid off. But I feel like prior to that, there were like signs at the company and just internal calls that we were having. So I think that subconsciously I kind of already knew. But we got on the call and he just kind of let me know, like, hey, we're restructuring and you were a part of the restructure. They're eliminating your role. And for me, I was pretty stoic. Like I wasn't emotionally charged or really affected. I was just like, okay. It was honestly a harder conversation for him than it was for me. I had only been at the company for like 10 months. And it was going okay. But again, I think I had already kind of like mentally prepared myself that if I hadn't been laid off by now at some point in my career, that was probably something that was going to happen. So yeah, he told me, restructures, a couple people that have been restructured, and I just was asking questions about the benefits. I'm like, okay, well, what does it look like? What is my compensation? What do I get? What is the severance? I was more concerned with that because I mean there was nothing else I could do. I also wanted to know, like, do I have to work for the rest of the day? Like, am I done with this? And he kind of just gave me like the rundown on it as far as like what he knew. At the company, it was also their first layoff. So again, it was his first time having had that conversation with anyone. So it was just interesting. It was definitely interesting.
Okay. And I know you said you were asking about the benefits and otherwise a little bit stoic, but was there anything maybe that you wanted to say but didn't say?
Honestly, no. I think that at that point I had my experience there and I was okay with it ending. Um, and I knew that really it was nothing I can do or nothing I could say. So I was just like, okay, cool. I get to spend more time with my cousin while she's in town. Like I wasn't alone. So
Yeah.
it wasn't like the worst thing or like
Right.
super devastating initially.
So how did your pride and your paycheck clash in that moment?
Ooh, I mean, obviously it's a little ego blow, right?
Definitely.
And obviously, again, like my first questions were like, what does the future of my compensation look like? And honestly, I really do appreciate it. I wouldn't have liked for it to happen any other way. Like they were very generous, especially with somebody who didn't even have a year at the company at that point. The package was very generous. I mean, your pride is really just like, I don't have a job, right? That's really where it was. But in terms of my paycheck, I didn't feel that for a really long time.
What a blessing.
I didn't feel that for a long time.
So, what made you decide to speak publicly about the layoff now instead of staying silent?
Because I understand the power of community. I understand the power of being vulnerable and being honest with others. And I know that there are a lot of people that are struggling and going through this or maybe anxious about it or aren't prepared or, just don't know whether or not it's going to be their turn. And there are millions of people that have been laid off since January. So I know that I am not alone. So I want others that are experiencing this to know that there is more. And also that there are good parts, to this. I know the initial, blow is a lot to handle. And even just overall, it's an emotional roller coaster because I'm on it right now. So I won't minimize that. But I also want to highlight the wonderful things that happened during this time as well.
Okay, so it's safe to say that, you too are struggling in this situation. We know you as someone that's always strong, always with strategy. So doing it publicly, is this hard for you to admit that maybe, you're struggling as well?
So I think there's two parts to that question. So I think it definitely is hard to admit publicly, period, to anybody. I feel like to people that right? Like you never want people to maybe think less of you because you are laid off, and it's not like you got fired. It's not under any circumstance that you caused, but it's also just like you just it's a lot of shame. It's a lot of ego that you have to, unlearn. And then it is a struggle. It's a mental struggle. It's definitely a daily battle. Some days are better than others, but I think that again, I want other people to know like you aren't the only person that's going through this. So I feel like that has a bigger purpose than my own pride and my own ego, right, or the fear of judgment from other people.
Did you grieve the job or grieve the version of yourself that the job validated?
That was the process, right? So initially I was very stoic. I really didn't react. I felt maybe a little bit relieved. I was like, oh, okay, cool. I don't have to work, blah, blah, blah. And then I flew to DC like 3 days later. And I feel like when I got there and my head hit the pillow, that's like when it really hit me. And I was like, dang, what is next? So I don't think that I grieved the job. I think I grieved my pre-existing identity. I had never not had employment. I had never been fired from a job. I never have had that experience. So I had to grieve something that was so certain in my life for forever. You know what I'm saying? For as long as I can remember. So I think that the identity from that job, no, absolutely not. But my identity as a person, I definitely feel like it was tied to my role and my accomplishments and what I did for a living. So I think that going forward, I had to relearn like who I was, and I had to relearn my value to myself. You know what I'm saying? I think I had to learn my new identity, right? And it wasn't tied to the role that I held at someone's corporation.
So when it first happened, was there any process of maybe like telling your close circle, your group of friends or your family, or did you just keep it to yourself for a little bit?
Well, my cousin was here, so obviously like I told her right in the moment. I probably called a couple people, but honestly, this video is going to be very shocking for a lot of my family because nobody knew this.
Okay.
Prior to now. If you haven't been around me in a certain way, you didn't know. No. So there are people in my family that know, but there are a lot that do not know that I do not have a job. So here that is. But yeah, I think that another thing that I had to kind of catch myself on is even still to this day, not identifying with what I do or leading with I'm laid off right now. I'm laid off right now. And I still have to like pull myself back because it's like honestly that is personal information that I do not have to share, but I feel like I have an insecurity around it still. And it's been so long. And again, like I have the good and the bad of it. And I think that I still have not completely grounded myself in I am a person that's worthy. Like I am not directly connected to a job and what I do, and that does not determine my value. But it's still hard. I go to networking events. I go to all types of things or meet people all the time, and people ask me what I do, and I'm like, I'm laid off, and it's like that's not what you do. Like you have a field, you have a resume,
right. You
you've
do
done
other
a lot,
things.
and you also do other things.
Right.
So yeah.
So with I know you said you had some family that does know, and you're the few people that you did tell, was there anything that surprised you about the way that they may have responded or didn't respond?
No. I honestly I felt like I was greeted with a lot of like empathy and love and a lot of compassion. Um I try to I go in waves of what I share or how I'm feeling or who I lean on. So a lot of people don't even get the real
Yeah.
emotional roller coaster that I've been on while being laid off. But those who do, you know what I'm saying, they encourage me and they keep me grounded and encourage me to continue to find value in other things, find value in life, find value in like pursuing my passions or all of those, that list of things. Like I have a vision board here. I got goals. Everybody got goals. You know what I'm saying? Whether you made them at the beginning of January, last year, whenever. So it's like you still have so many things that you can accomplish during this time, and they encourage me to kind of like focus on that versus focusing on what I can't control, which is where I am right now.
Right. Now I know you said that you don't want to lead with saying that you're laid off when you're doing your networking or just meeting people in general. But has there ever been a point where you felt like embarrassed, maybe? Or
it's very embarrassing. I think it's embarrassing on a daily basis. I'm always embarrassed. I'm in interviews and talking to recruiters, and I'm embarrassed. And I also have had to try to, because you got to build your confidence.
Yeah.
Like it is so hard going into a conversation with someone who's doing what you do or possibly is an opportunity for you or it's an interview, and being confident in I have accomplished all these things, because you also have to say right now I'm not doing anything, right?
But that's not true, because you are doing something.
That is true. That is true. So again, I feel like that's where my family and my friends come in, and that's like the things that are helping me to like rebuild my confidence and my mindset. But it definitely is embarrassing to even talk to recruiters who are interviewing you, but 10 a day or 300 or 9,000 of their colleagues have just gotten laid off, and I'm like, why does this feel so uncomfortable to say out loud when this is a common thing?
Everybody got hit with the restructuring.
Everybody is getting restructured. And I'm like, it's just such a it's a weird dynamic. And I just had an interview. I'm so tired of saying I had an interview, baby. If I had to take a shot every day that I said interview, I would be drunk every day. But there was a call that I recently had, and she asked me, she was like, oh, I saw you left that company, in X amount of time. Like, what have you been doing since then? And I wanted to say, girl, what you mean looking for a job? Everybody in our industry is laying people off. Do you think that I'm working? I would put that on my resume. But I had to say, I had to reframe it. And I also learned how to reframe those conversations. I'm like, I really just took a sabbatical, because this is a sabbatical for me. Took a year off. This is amazing. I'm very happy. I'm like, I'm helping my family with their businesses. I'm trying to build my own businesses. So there are things that I am doing during this time. And I do think that I should speak on that more to shed light on, I ain't been that focused on finding a job, because I'm also trying to find me. With the opportunity.
So how did you start to separate your self-worth from your salary or your title?
Ugh, girl, get laid off. You got no choice. Once they say you're done, you like, wow, who am I? What have I accomplished? What do I do next? So I definitely feel like I'm on a journey of like myself, mindset work, shadow work, all of those things, and exploring all of my passions. So during this time, I recognize that we all have gifts from God. We all have gifts from God, and the biggest disservice we can do to ourselves is to explore those things, because you could get paid from the things that you love to do versus trying to fit in the box. And that's what I had to learn. right? Because I'm like, oh, I can't, nobody wants me, nobody wants me. And I'm like, but then everywhere I go, they ask me what I got on. Everywhere I go, I'm like talking and I'm connecting and I'm, you know what I'm saying, speaking. So it's just like, okay, why would I make my own box while I'm still pursuing, employment, but why won't I make my own box versus like valuing myself based on a box that somebody else created?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's not something that I'm over the moon about. I don't wake up and be like, oh, I love being technical and I want to, you know what I'm saying, be in the software field. I enjoy it. I learn it. It's another thing that is in my tool set, but it's gifts that I wake up with every single day.
Right.
I'm a creative person. I love to, like, there's so many things that I could be doing that actually showcase my true value versus feeling like because someone didn't validate me with an offer letter, I don't have any value.
Right.
Yeah.
What would you say is the most radical thing you've learned about yourself in this season?
Oof. I think I've learned so many things about myself and it ain't pretty. It's not pretty at all, but I also learned that I do have a mindset to grow and change. Like I still have a mindset to, be resilient, persevere, continue to grow, find other ways to grow, find other things to do. Um, I always have questioned whether or not I was truly resilient, because I can be a little emotional at times. You be wanting to give up. And I have seen myself just continue to just pick myself up, and to really just face my biggest fears. This is a big fear. This is a big fear, right? Like doing something that you love, doing something that you're passionate about, but you're afraid to do it. You don't want to be vulnerable. You don't want to put yourself out there. So, one, talking about this layoff is one of those things that has shown me that I am growing because most people want to hide their flaws. We don't want to write no our flaws, but I'm saying like you don't want to announce your failures, right? So I feel like that's the way that I have definitely seen myself grow. And also that I really have shown true resilience because this is a mental battle every day, every single day, good or bad days. It's a mental battle.
So even though, you, I guess we'll quote unquote say lost the job, it's really a reroute and a redirection for you, right? Because it's showing you all the other capabilities that you're able to do.
So I think it's a confidence boost in that way, right? Like when your back is against the wall and you don't have anything else to hold on to, you got to start figuring out what you can do. Can I climb up a wall? I don't have a rope. You know what I'm saying? I remember in third grade, I used to do a little hopscotch. Can I jump over into the next bridge? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I feel like it has shown me to go within. I feel like that's what this entire thing has shown me. Like everything that you need is inside of you. It's inside of you for real. And it's up to you to like water that, bring it out, believe in yourself, despite.
Right. That's good. So, of course, you're still actively looking for employment. What boundaries or standards have you set for your next opportunity? And do you have any non-negotiables?
Um, honestly, I need to check. No, I'm just playing.
Okay.
So I can't say that I have any hard boundaries that I've set because I can't think of those right now. But I will say that I know that I want to go somewhere that wants me. Right? I don't want to go to a place where I feel like I got to chase them and climb up behind them and do all these things, which I have been doing and it haven't been working. You know what I'm saying? So I want to go somewhere where I feel like they're excited to have me there, right? Like they're looking forward to having me on the team. Like I don't want to go anywhere where I feel like, all right, girl, come on. Like, so that's probably something I feel.
Okay. What do you think most people get wrong about bouncing back from a layoff?
Ooh, I think that most people don't understand the power of having the time to yourself to actually re-strategize on your next step, right? So during this time, you can either wallow or you can grow. And I think that this time is amazing for you to really plant seeds in your ideas and in things that you want to see in your own life. So whether it's habits, whether it's businesses, whether it's communities, all of those things, like you have free time to do all of those things. So this helps to shape what you do next, right? The things that you go after, the confidence that you have, the ways that you diversify yourself, right? I want to go back to work, but I also still want to do this. I still want to do the other things that I've started, the habits that I have. It's like, okay, you've been doing this for all this time. You really gonna need that when you start working, you know? So I think that most people feel like, oh, you have a gap in employment, you haven't done anything. And it's like, actually, I've gotten better as a person. My mental health is much better and much stronger to go into the next situation because no matter where you go, it's never going to be a perfect environment. You're never going to be a perfect employee. You're not going to have the perfect boss. But one, you do value a little bit more because you have not been working. You recognize that it's not as guaranteed as it has always seemed. But you also um have habits or skill sets or other things that can help you to be a little bit more successful, especially if you care.
Is there anything that you've stopped chasing?
I cannot say that.
Okay.
I can no. I can say I'm saying what I'm truly thinking. I cannot say it out
That's why I
loud.
said okay.
But anything that I feel like I'm truly chasing, I definitely think that it was validation. For sure. And I think that during the interviewing process, I lost my value. Like I lost my value because I was so thirsty, right? I was just thirsty for them to choose me that I forgot why I was even in the room.
Yeah.
Like the room was made for me. I walked in the door because they knew that I was the person, but I wasn't leaning into my true value and my true skills or actually reflecting on my career because I lost my confidence because I lost my job. So going into those conversations, I wasn't really able to showcase my true value because I hadn't even reflected and remembered what I had did for the past, 5, 10 years that I've been employed. So I definitely think that that's something that I'm taking into conversations moving forward and just having the confidence and knowing they wouldn't even be talking to me if I wasn't the person. So now it's just my job to share my experiences in a way that shows my value and showcases that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and not regurgitating everything, like, being authentic.
Yeah. If someone is listening, just got laid off this morning, what's one thing you would want them to hear loud and clear?
Breathe, 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 breathe. This is not the end of the world. I know that it feels like the end of the world a lot. A lot. Not just at the beginning, throughout. Until you get that offer letter.
Consistently.
Baby. But I would just say breathe and just understand, honestly, this is an opportunity. One of the things that I have thought throughout my journey is we don't get these breaks in America.
No.
We do not get these breaks in America. So it's like you could focus on the layoff or you could focus on I can sleep till 2 o'clock every day and do whatever I want, spend time with my family, go on a walk. I have a lot of freedom that is liberating and it is good for my mental health. So obviously this is a big burden to bear, but it's not all bad. And I don't want you to get stuck on the fact that you don't have a job because during this time, you're not going to have a job. So, what is more important is for you to find ways to build your mental health.
What conversations do you wish more people in our industry were honest enough to have?
Um, that everybody is potentially gonna get laid off depending on the industry that you're in or depending on the climate that we are in. Um, the funny thing is we are all so connected, right? And we are all going on the same journey, just at different times, right? When I got laid off, I professionals, I'm gonna say professionals, but I feel like most of the people that I have connected with have been laid off before.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that it's so taboo, right? Nobody wants to talk about it. I felt cringe talking about it, or I felt uncomfortable. I didn't want to tell anybody. But it's like, this happened all the time. I talk to people and they like, I've been laid off twice. I did this, but a lot of people don't understand, especially if you're going through it, that typically when you talk to somebody, their next pivot is better. It's like, I became a nurse, or I started this business when I was laid off, or I created something when I was laid off. So just know that it's not the end, and it's more common than you think. And sharing your story helps other people connect with you because they'll share their story and inspire you to be like, okay, I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna make it. Things are gonna be all right. Like, this is not the end of the world, even though it can feel that way.
If this platform could be a soft place to land or a loud place to rise, what do you want it to be?
I want it to be both of those things, right? Like, I want it to be a safe place to land. Like, if you are going through that, I definitely have found solace in other people that are experiencing it or have been through it. And reconnecting with others, right? What are they doing? What strategies are they using? You know what I'm saying? Hearing the pitfalls, or just creative ways people are using to make money, right? Because, like I said, there millions, millions of people are going through this. Millions of people are facing the same thing. So, um, finding community. So I would love for it to be a safe place to land, but I also would be love for it to be a great place to rise as well, right? Like, we can all band together, brainstorm, think of ways that, you know, we can get stronger and more strategic in how we move forward. Yeah.
Okay. And what would you say to the version of you that was in that layoff meeting 5 minutes before it happened, from then into who and how you are now?
Girl, you was right. You was right. You caught that too. But baby, you was not as cool as the cucumber as you thought she was gonna be. You handled that with so much grace and like emotional control. And I appreciate you for, just being there and just standing in the fire, because that was definitely like a gut punch that you got. But we are here, and I feel like we have grown 3 years and 11 months. So I'm so grateful that you were there. You asked the questions that needed to be asked. You got the information and you did what you needed to do, because we are recording our podcast, and this has been a dream for forever. So grateful.
Doing it.
Yeah.
You're used to being the strong one, the one people go to for answers. What did it feel like to not have the answers for yourself? What answers were you looking for from yourself?
So hmm, it was hard. I mean, it still is hard because on a daily basis, I still don't know what is going on. I'm just rolling with it. But it was definitely hard not to know what's next. I think that was my biggest um concern. It's my biggest worry. Like, I stress out about it. I call my aunt crying about it all the time. Like, I don't know what's next. Like, nothing is working, because I feel like, especially at certain points in the journey, and I mean, again, this is a continuous thing. It's not like you just get over your layoff and then everything is great. It's like, I might be great for 5 days and then I'm gonna have a breakdown. But I think that I initially, or at a point, I became too focused on the closed doors and not leaving room or zooming out to see all of the other opportunities that were out there, like spending time with my family, um, doing creative things, taking care of myself physically, mentally, spiritually, getting back into things that I haven't done since a kid, like reading. You know what I'm saying? Just like I don't think that I was giving as much credit to the pros of the situation, uh, depending on where I was. So I think that that was hard to not have the answer to when am I going to get a job. But that's all I was focused on. I wasn't focused on like when is your confidence going to come up? When are you actually going to create content? When are you actually going to, join these organizations? When are you actually going to do the things that you said you were going to do when you had a job and you used your job
right
to say you didn't have to do?
Yeah.
So I think that I did always have the answers. I had the answers, but it just wasn't the answer to that question.
Okay.
I didn't have the answer to that question, but I had the answers for myself. It's like, who you are, where you want to be, how you want to rise, where you want to get to. So it's like, become that version of yourself, and I think everything else gonna come.
Okay.
Yeah.
We did it.
Awesome. Well, thank y'all for having a vulnerable moment with me. Again, we're going to do these once a month. I ain't going to be giving y'all my business all the time. Okay. But this was our coffee break for the month. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Please, please, please drop some love in the comments for me. Like, share, subscribe. Put this on your Instagram story. We want to help and motivate others that are experiencing this as well, and just let them know that they are not alone. It's not over. This is just a new pivot for them. All right, y'all.